Hello everyone, welcome welcome to the live stream. It's Monday the 26th. My name is Cowboy Jack apparently, and thank you so much for joining me. We've got a nice lovely guest appearance today from Dan the Cherry Picker Man, otherwise known as Danny. Tracy, welcome. Barclay, Lindsay, Nick, H. Peck, Crystal Clean Windows, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for popping in and saying hi. Should be a good episode today. Get comfy. Ugh. I thought I'd go for an iced coffee today. Could have been a mistake. I added more coffee at the end, and I think it's because it's cold. It's not really doing what I wanted it to do. It's okay. It's a pint of coffee basically. Should get me through the evening, shouldn't it? I've been a bit tired today. Danny's good. Nice to see he's got a JCB machine fixed. I need to ask him about that. I need to figure out, because I know he was having some issues with it. Good evening, I hope you're well. Not been able to catch you here for a while. Pressure Washing Midlands, welcome mate. You mustn't be too far from me. Whereabouts in the Midlands are you? I saw your recent video and you had what looked like a bit of plastic for putting up a door and fencing to stop the bits flying. Yeah. Cedars, welcome. Yeah, that was from Wix, mate. It's just a clear like Perspex sheet, I suppose. Just a cheap acrylic sheet. Yeah, just one of these, mate. Just one of these. Very simple. Lion, welcome. Skyhawk. Are you from Leicester? Nice. Is that considered Midlands? Do you believe Ronnie Pickering is a real I don't know what you're talking about. Right, should we get into it? Should we see if Danny's about? How do we do this then? Afternoon, Smout. Thanks for being here. Let's go, Negan. Arden, welcome. We're going to figure out what it's like to own a cherry picker today. I've got questions. Right, let's see if we can get this to work. I'm going to do the camera from my phone so that you can actually see me. You guys have got the action cam, where all the action is. And then this one's going to be my phone. Yep, there we go. Nice. It works. It works. Hello.
That's working. Hello.
There he is.
There we go.
How's it going?
Good. This is nerve-wracking. How many people you got in there?
Oh, mate, you don't need to be nervous or anything like that. It's very casual, very laid back. I think there's about 50 people. They're all they all absolutely love it. Can you believe that people tune in every Monday night to talk about pressure washing?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Crazy, isn't it?
Do you want to introduce yourself before we start, just so that people know your channel and know what you do generally?
Okay, yeah. So my name's Danny, and I ultimately fix things off a cherry picker. And since October, I've been filming it and putting it on YouTube, having a lot of fun with it. Really, so fun.
What I should do.
People seem to enjoy it.
What I should do is put your channel at the bottom of the stream so that people can. It's just Dan the
cherry picker man.
I'm going to put YouTube. Dan. And you're getting into a bit of pressure washing, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it gets quiet during these sunny months, fixing leaks on roofs and chimneys. So I thought that we might start cleaning roofs, things like that.
Someone
Keep
told
me out.
me. Someone told me you've fixed your JCB machine. What was wrong with it? Do you remember? Do you know?
Yeah, well, so the story behind this machine is I bought it off eBay, 500 quid, very nice package with rotary cleaner, hoses, quite a few bits, an absolute bargain. I was just keeping my eye out for one of these machines because I'd watched Sid's video on these JCB things, so I was just sort of keeping an eye out. Saw it on eBay, 500 quid for all this kit. Thought, right, bang, buy that straight away, no messing. Went up to Leeds to get it. Chap was a great guy. Bit unfortunate circumstances, which meant he was selling everything cheap. So, you know, I believe everything's okay.
Was it like a failed business?
No, he was going quite well. So he had a full-time job, and he looked, you know, I went to pick it up from his work, which was a big distribution place, selling lots of cleaning products, actually. And he must have been quite high up because he was wearing a suit and whatnot, and he had minions going around on forklift trucks and whatnot, all working for him. And he spent a good half an hour talking to me, and no one batted an eyelid. So he was obviously quite high up, but he was doing that on the side. But unfortunately, after sort of 17 years of marriage, his wife turned around to him and said, "Right, I want a divorce," and that sort of scuppered everything, left him sorting out, selling the house, selling all his equipment. So everything was a fire sale. Everything must go cheap. Bit sad for him. He was a nice guy, you know, and he clearly knocked him for six. But, you know, so I got a long story short, got the machine home, get everything set up, cameras rolling. Let's clean this patio. Let's go. You know, we'll make a film, this equipment, 500 quid, bargain, happy days. Nothing happens. White smoke everywhere, which, you know, makes for a nice video, doesn't it? Makes it exciting. Not very good for setting up the pressure washing business.
Am I right in saying there was fuel in the oil, or fuel coming out of the exhaust, or what was it?
So when I tried to start it, a load of petrol flew out the exhaust, and then I had a load of white smoke. My mechanic, after I'd got it fixed, he reckons because it'd been stored for a long time, he reckons it's probably been stored at a funny angle, or fuel had somehow got where it wasn't supposed to be through either lifting it in and out of the van, driving it without the fuel turned off, or it'd been stored at a funny angle. You know, and fuel had got where it wasn't supposed to be ultimately. And the repair was relatively simple: to drain all the oil, drain everything out, dry the spark plug, top everything back up again, and it worked.
All right.
Which I did not very well, but I did it. But when I tested it after I'd done it, it didn't seem to work very well. It was running as if the choke was on, which I did check. I hadn't left the choke on. But as soon as I got it to the mechanic and he fired it up, as is usually the case, everything works for him and not for me, you know.
Fair
but
enough.
It's working now. I'm doing my patio this afternoon. It's looking good.
How many pressure washers do you think have been sold since Sid's video? Since he did that JCB video? I reckon they've just gone insane now, haven't they?
You know, I bought it off. So I was, you know, having talked to this guy, I bought it off, and I says, "Oh, did you see Sid's video?" He says, "Yeah, that's why I bought it." You know, you look on eBay, it's full of them. Yeah. And then, of course, that Darren from PWS.
He's in the chat now. Are you? Have you got the live chat up? Have you managed to do that?
I have, but it's distracting. So my live chat is down here. And I think there's a delay between our call and the chat. So if I look, it just blows my mind.
Okay.
Can't do it.
All right.
But yeah, he was fixing one the other day. I noticed on his videos when I was looking at how to fix mine. And I assume that came to him. as a result of somebody upgrading after watching Sid's video. They seem all over the place, don't they now?
Yeah.
But it's a good machine. Decent. Got to buy it.
What made you start with like a slightly smaller machine like that rather than going guns blazing and getting all the kit, all the the best stuff?
Oh, right. Yeah. The reason for that is because I've got a wife that reins me in. So, I have these ideas.
You're an ideas man. Yeah.
I am, definitely. But not only am I ideas man, if I'm doing something, I go hell for leather. It's all guns blazing. But she'll be like, oh, no. And, we have a business mentor as well. And we're speaking to the best business mentor. And he was saying, well, perhaps maybe you could rent a bit of kit and test it all out. So I'm supposed to be researching the industry, and putting together a bit of a business plan. But what happened was I saw this kit on eBay and I bought it. But actually, at 500 quid, you couldn't rent it any cheaper, really, could you?
Was that a similar story for the cherry picker? Because how does one? First of all, if I wouldn't even have anywhere to put a cherry picker, what's the story behind that?
Gosh, how far do you want to go back on the story?
Have you had it a long time?
This current machine I've had for 7 years, and I bought it new as well. It's about 7.5 years old now, this particular machine. But cherry pickers in general, I've had probably 10 years now. But it comes off the back of buying a set of 15.5 meter ladders, which cost me about 700 quid. They're expensive ladders. I put them up once and thought, bugger this.
Yeah.
I'm buying a cherry picker.
Did you feel unsafe?
And it's not. No. Once you get those ladders up there and they're where they're supposed to be, those ladders they're rock solid. And I'm not too worried about heights and things like that anyway.
I've been on some big ladders and I first of all moving them around the property and just getting them into position. They're so heavy. And
that's the thing. It's a 3-man operation.
Yeah. And then, once to get up to the point where you've got them fully extended, it's like, there's got to be a better way of doing this, surely.
Cherry picker. That's the way. But that was it. So I put them up once, quite literally, and I thought, you know what? I can't do it. I physically can't be doing this. Not worried about being on ladders at 15.5 meters, because if there's a job to be done, you just get on and do the job. But physically getting those ladders into position, not happening. So I ended up buying a cherry picker, and it was a I started off buying an XBT van. I think maybe I might have ended up buying it off a couple of Travelers, perhaps, because it was a bit dodgy. Let's just say that it didn't last too long, but I bought it cheap. Off the back of that, I thought, well, actually, this concept works. Then bought a Nissan Cabstar with a 20 meter machine on the back of it. Again, that didn't last too long. I spent 20 grand on that.
A 20 meter machine, you mean like a boom coming out of the back of the van?
Yeah. Well, it was on a Cabstar. Do you know a Cabstar?
No. Let me Google it.
It's a Nissan. They're great little trucks.
Oh, I see.
Let's bring it down there.
Yeah, I see.
Okay. Yeah. Cracking little van. There you are. Go to the one on the left, the eBay one. One on the left. Down, left. No. Your little cursor. It goes.
There's a bit of a delay, so you're probably you're probably about
10
10 seconds behind.
One of them.
Yeah.
One of them. And I tell you what, that was a cracking machine, but didn't last very long. Only lasted about a year. But at that point, I'd proved the concept that the cherry picker was a good idea, and I'd sort of been looking at spiders. And I just happened to say to the missus one day, because she controls the finances. If we need any funding, she has to go and get it. And I said, this cherry picker, this Cabstar that we had, it was knackered. By the time I'd finished with it, it was falling apart. I had to put a manhole lid underneath the driver's seat because there was a big hole in underneath the seat, and this manhole lid was the only thing stopping me from ending up on the road. It was knackered. And I said, sort of jokingly almost, what we need is one of these. And I showed her a spider, and she started doing the sums. And she said, oh, well, look into it a bit more. So I did. And I went to a company called Promax in Barnsley, who are the best company that you will ever do business with, ever. Spoke to them before it went up to have a look. Before I knew it, we're signing the papers. And it's like, right, okay, we better go and buy a truck. Before I know it, I'm 80 grand in the hole in debt with finance packages for a truck, trailer, and cherry picker.
Oh my God.
But it was possibly one of the smartest things I did. To be fair. It worked out well.
So you must have had, can you see me, by the way? It looks like my camera's froze.
You're down in my little corner there.
Have I froze?
I see you.
Or am I okay?
No, you're frozen.
I'm just going to turn. Sorry, I'm just going to turn this camera off. It's clearly not working very well. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's not going very well. All these grand ideas. Sorry about that. So you must have had like a already established business or some kind of plan as to what you were going to do with the cherry picker. What was the original plan? Was it roof repairs, or what was the idea?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been in business for about 20 years, and I had a load of customers, letting agents, property management companies, that kind of thing. And I was predominantly doing all kinds of maintenance on the outsides of property. I wouldn't go inside, but anything on the outside. And a lot of it was roof repairs. When we bought the cherry pickers, at that point we ditched everything else. We said, right, now we're only doing roof repairs and high access maintenance, that kind of specialized in the stuff up high, really.
And how did you need to advertise at that point, or was it all word of mouth, or it was just good relationships with all these like big customers that would feed you lots of work?
Yeah, not big customers. So I got a load of letting agents. So when I actually first started in business, I was cleaning driveways and paving and that kind of thing. This is before the days of YouTube. So there was no communities like this. I literally bought a Clark pressure washer and started cleaning paving. I come from a building background. But a business before then, I was landscaping, didn't do so well. So when I went back into business, we thought, oh, I'll do something that I might get repeat business for. When I bought the jet wash, I soon discovered that you can clean gutters and get an extra 30 quid on the day at the time for cleaning the gutters, and B, you can use your jet wash for jetting drains as well. Mm-hmm. So this was back in the day that you could put a little advert on Gumtree, drain cleaning services or gutter cleaning services, and that advert from Gumtree would get you to the top of Google for a niche little thing like gutter cleaning Nottingham. Put an advert like that on Gumtree back then, it would get you straight to the top of Google. So off the back of that, I was getting letting agents ringing me up saying, can you clean these drains? Can you look at can you clear these gutters, etc., etc. From cleaning gutters, I discovered that if you look at a roof, just look at any roof, you can find work on a roof. So all of a sudden, I'm getting letting agents wanting me to clear drains and gutters, and they're coming back to me because I'm sorting out their roofs, sorting out this and that, and I got myself a nice little customer base. And then I was also a member of Round Table, which is like a young man's club. Used to get a bit of work off the back of that. So I had never really struggled.
So you've not necessarily had to advertise?
No, in the early days, like I say, Gumtree did it for me 20 years ago. But no, since then, I haven't particularly advertised. If I get slow, and I do get slow during these dry months fixing roofs, hence the let's start cleaning roofs kind of idea. I'll every now and again like have a little flurry on Facebook, and that gets me a bit of work, but I never struggle too much. But it's always the same, every year I'll get quiet for a few weeks during the dry months, but I know now.
That's because
I just enjoy it.
that's because the roofs are leaking when it's raining a lot, and then obviously when it dries up, people don't notice that sort of thing, so they're not they're not ringing your phone.
That's exactly it. So come September, we'll get a bit of rain, and I will be booked up for 2 months in advance, for between a month and 2 months in advance for our roof leaks, chimney repairs, and I also drop a lot of chimney liners for stove fitters. And of course, that doesn't get busy until the temperature drops. I'll be dropping liners and things like that as well. So I'll be booked up.
Do you do you take like emergency call outs to people, say I need you here like tonight?
I wouldn't do that.
No.
No. Well, it depends. I mean, if they want to pay me really well for it, yeah.
It's it seems to be like a strange niche, because if I needed someone like you, what I wouldn't even know what to type in. You know what I mean? Like would it be like high access or roof repairs? Because you do all sorts. I saw a video earlier where you were pulling ivy off of a roof.
That's doing that again.
You've done pigeon. You've done solar panel pigeon proofing, the netting. You've done like what would people search for? You know what I mean?
If they were looking for me, I don't know. That's a good point. I think the work that I get now, people just know me, and I get the work because they just know I'm competent. So, if it's like any builder, I suppose. I come from a building background ultimately, so. You could ask a builder to build you a brick wall, or you could probably ask him to put you up a fence, or, a lot of them would hang a door or do minor plumbing repairs, that kind of thing. And I suppose I'm the same, only it's only worth your while getting me if it's up high. If you need the cherry picker, that's what makes me good value.
So that would have been predominantly built on. Your business is built on relationships that you built over the years.
I suppose so.
Because when I first started, I hadn't considered that aspect. I thought each customer was going to be a new customer, and every year, I was treating each customer, not necessarily that I'd do it differently, but I was treating each customer like I'd never see them again, basically. Because I didn't understand the power. I'd never been self-employed before. I didn't understand the power of word of mouth, or a lot of, especially older people, once they find someone that they're happy with, they'll never use anyone else. And I underestimated the second year getting all them callbacks from the first year. People I recognised. I'm like, oh yeah, I did their gutters last year. Now they want the drive doing. Like, that was huge for me. Before the season even started, my phone was ringing saying, "You did my gutters. Can you come and do my patio this year?"
That's the beautiful thing about your business. Now, my business model is a little bit flawed in the respect that, so I'm working for letting agents, okay, and I have letting agents, property management companies, and a few roofers. Trouble is, each of these customers, they give me a bit of work. So let's say I've got a load of them, and let's say they average at giving me sort of £30,000 worth of work per year. Now, the trouble is, when one of them's busy, they're all busy. And because they give me so much work, they all expect me to drop everything and go and rush over to them. They all like to think that they own you. And that's a kind of a bit of a problem. Whereas in your line of business, yes, you've probably got, I don't know, in your fourth year, maybe you've got 50 or 60 regular customers. that keep coming back, but none of them own you, do they? Because they might have you once every 1 or 2 years. They don't give you enough work to
No,
make you think that you owe them any favors,
no.
kind of
And
thing.
I did have a taste of that when I was doing commercial jobs. When you
Right. Who
have
was that? A letting
very
agent.
no, it was a couple of letting agencies, and then there was a fairly big property management company and a grounds maintenance business, and they, things like student accommodation and stuff. I suppose you've done
Yeah.
quite a lot of that as well, inner city
Yeah.
student accommodation,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
and they the whole relationship is built on. I think you've got to be careful of some of these people because they'll say things like, "If you look after me on this one, I've got loads of work for you," and
Yeah. All for that.
yeah, that very rarely actually amounts to anything. So they're trying to get a cheaper price from you, and they don't intend on giving you any more work in the future. But I've always done a good job, and there's no reason that they wouldn't come back to me in the future. But it's that you can always tell they're trying to get a discount. But I had a taste of some of the bigger gutter jobs where some of these big schools and academies, I could have spent 6 months on one job because it was literally like Hogwarts. The place was literally like Hogwarts, and it was huge. And it would have, and it was sort of peak season as well, and it would have meant that I'd have to essentially shut down the pressure washing side of the business and exclusively do gutter clearing for this one massive customer. And
Yeah.
the way they start to treat you and the communication sort of turns into, we need this, we need that, we need you to put a price in for this by Thursday. We need you to do that. And it's like, we need you to be there for 6 a.m. And it's like, hang on. I don't work for you. like you're sort of employing me to do bits and bobs, but like, I'm not your full-time employee. They start to treat you like a full-time employee. And it's a strange dynamic when you're self-employed.
I think though, one of the things that I've discovered, so I used to have guys working for me. At one point, I had 2 cherry pickers and a couple of lads working for me. And at that point, you're trying to chase all the work because you just need to get work in to keep these guys busy. There came a point that it just wasn't working out for me. It was not good for my head. It was not good financially. So I ended up scaling right back and going back to just myself now, with one machine. And the beauty of that is I know that I can always keep myself busy. So I don't need, even if these people start to think that they own you, you just say, well, I'm not reducing my price because my price is my price. If I'm working for you at a discount today over here, I'm not working over there for full price. I can fill my time. So that's the advantage, I suppose, of being small and not really not having any other dependents, so to speak.
Yeah, I suppose when you start looking desperate for work and chasing every job that comes in, you've got more to lose because you're relying on every single person paying on time so that you can pay your bills. But when you're busy enough and you're like, right, I can, plenty of work booked in the calendar, I can relax a little bit now, you start to make better decisions, I think.
Yes. Even to the point where, so I'm quiet at the moment, which is why I can afford to come and clean a roof with you. It doesn't, because I don't have to pay anyone's wages other than my own. And to be honest, I've been busy enough in my busy period. I could potentially have a month off if I wanted to. It just means that you don't have to stress about these things. And at the end of the day, you've got to remember that it's not worth the stress. So you don't work for any sort of discounts, although I did give someone a discount the other day purely because I liked the guy. It's the first time in years.
I do that. I do that. When a lot of the time people are trying to, get you to drop your price and is that your final price and all that sort of stuff. And I very rarely drop my price at all. Sometimes I'll get to the end of the job, you know, the customer's been bringing me coffee and biscuits, and they're absolutely lovely, and they're letting me crack on with it, and they're not trying to hold me up. They're, you know, toilets in here, just come in whenever you need to, and all that sort of stuff. Occasionally I'll get to the end of the job and think I can charge a bit less on this one, so I might knock, you know, 50, 60 quid off just as like a little surprise for them, and that absolutely makes their day, and they will be a customer for life, providing you've done a good job.
Yeah, I bet.
It's a nice feeling to be able to do that.
Have you worked out what you need to be earning a day, Jake?
I was just I was going to ask you the same thing.
Do I have to get the wife in here?
No.
To tell him.
You mentioned about. I was watching your Ivy clearing video earlier, and you mentioned about a day rate, and I thought, oh, yes, that's interesting, because let me hear your thoughts on a day rate first of all, because if you've given this person a day rate, chances are you don't give other people day rates all the time.
If you look on my website, you will see there is cherry picker and operator hire, and I think that is currently at $650 plus VAT per day. I might have put it up recently.
What's the website?
www.dji-uk.co.uk. There you go. Yeah, you better tell me what these
I got you.
prices are. I'm not the drone company, by the way. Stop ringing me about your lost drones, okay? It's got nothing.
You've got some good pictures on there. That first video.
That, yeah.
And then the
my
picture.
Mate Ash.
It's very cool.
And that's my friend's house in Newstead Abbey, Nottinghamshire. If you know Newstead Abbey, it's where Lord Byron lived. Beautiful part of the world. So yeah, you've got that up. So there should be cherry picker hire with operator. So that, and I do think, you know, for machine hire and operator, I think that's expensive, but I've set it at that price for a reason, and that's because ultimately I can. Oh, there we are, $650 plus VAT. There we go.
Go on.
Go on, Jay.
No, go on.
I was going to say, if I start fixing chimneys and doing my own type of work, so the $650 plus VAT is basically I will turn up with the machine, I'll operate the machine, and granted, I'm the kind of guy that will get involved and help you out, but it you know, I'm not obliged to. I will, but I'm not obliged to. But $650, that's kind of on the cheaper side of things. Purely because, well, I say cheap, it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but I have quite a high overheads. I don't walk home, I don't take that home, and anyone that's in business will understand that there are overheads.
Mm-hmm.
If I go and fix a chimney, for instance, I can come out with sometimes you can be doing 1,500 quid in a day fixing chimneys and repointing bridges on a roof and this and that, the other. You know, you can top them up. So that's why I charge what I charge, and I won't give a discount. If you rang me up and said, right, I need a cherry picker and an operator for 2 days, can I have any discounts? We charge that per day, because if I'm with you giving you a discount, it means I'm not somewhere else fixing a chimney. You know, and that's so the day rate is what the day rate is for that reason, because I can get my own work and potentially earn more.
So when would you not charge a day rate then?
Mostly I don't charge a day rate. So as a general rule, I will get a phone call, or if it's a letting agent, they'll send me an email and they'll say, right, tenant's having a problem with a leak or whatever, and I'll go round, I'll set up a survey, I'll go and survey it with a drone, and then I'll photograph everything that's wrong with that roof, put it all in a report with photographs, ping it to the letting agents, and I will set it up in the respect of, so I'll have a setup fee to get me on site, to get me on the roof will cost generally £300 plus VAT. Then I will list every individual job and what I'm going to do to fix it. So I'll list each problem. So it'll be like, flaunching on a chimney is cracked, it's letting in water, this is bad for this reason, blah, blah, blah. Then I'll have recommendations underneath it, and I will itemize each bit of that. So by the time you're done on a roof survey, it could be, let's reflaunch 2 chimneys and rebed some ridges, for instance. It will be setup fee, cost for chimney 1, cost for chimney 2, cost for ridges, and then it's up to the landlord or whoever how much of that they want fixing. They can get me there just to fix the slipped slate, which would be my minimum charge plus, well, if it's a slipped slate, it'd just be a minimum charge of 300 quid plus VAT, which is an expensive slate to fix.
Yeah.
However, if you then have me fix chimneys as well, I become really good value at that point, because as a general rule, I will fix a chimney for the cost of the scaffold, or what scaffolding would usually cost you.
Yeah.
So in some things it makes me expensive, other things I'm really great value.
Yeah. And that sounds like quite a lot of time and effort to go down and itemize each thing in the quote. Is this would you do this for a new customer who has no history of working with you? And because sometimes I find that I get messages from every different platform and people say, how much? And I know most of them have no intention of getting the work done. And sometimes I've started sending people through the contact form on my website. So I know if they make the effort to go through and fill out their name, address, and attach some photos for me, they're interested in having the work done. And if they don't bother doing that, I've filtered that person out, because they were just going to mess me around anyway. So to put in that much effort to a quote, do you ever get people just ignore it or just not come back to you?
I don't. Do you know what? I find that I win most of my quotes. And I tell you you say it's an effort. It's not a big effort, really. So first of all, thanks to YouTube, you were saying, I'm getting a lot more work because of YouTube. Since October, I'm getting lots of people who have come to me through YouTube. So I'm almost moving away from the letting agents and property management.
That's cool.
Which is lovely.
That's cool, because not many people in the sort of early days of YouTube, it's more of like a hobby rather than something to generate work. And I've noticed now in I think it's my second year of YouTube now, I'm starting to get people say, I've been watching YouTube videos. It's like, oh, that's cool. And you ask them how they got in touch, and more people are saying YouTube, which I never imagined would be the case.
Yes. Well, I did expect it. So we're going off track. I was going to tell you about my surveys and why it's not an effort. And I'll tell you about where I was going to go a minute ago. So someone rings me up. They've got a leak, for instance. It's not a big effort for me to then go and survey them. So I'll have a list of things that will need to be surveyed. And in my busy periods, I'll bat round in the morning and I will quite literally pull up, send the drone up, whiz it round, photograph the roof, and then go to the next one. And I'll get back later, download all my photos, and I've got an app on my phone called Site Audit Pro. Put all the photos on there, and then there's another app that I've got on my phone called Fast Type, which basically means I've written everything out already. So if the chimney needs doing, I'll just put chim into my phone, and it'll come up with this needs doing with the chimney. So you just be bang, 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 bang.
Oh, you've got templates.
And then templates for everything, and then just prices next to everything, and bang. So a big long report will take me 5 or 10 minutes to do. And the customer's well impressed, because they think I shouldn't say this now because my customers might be watching, but they think I've got a lot of that. It's no effort at all. Oh crap! I've spoken too much.
That's very cool. Which direction would we going?
Reasons for getting on YouTube. So I started YouTube about 7 or 8 years ago. And the reason I started back then, this is going back to the days where you could put a Gumtree advert on Google and get to the top of Google, right? Back in those days, it was a case of get as many links to your website, backlinks to your website to increase your SEO. So I was making videos about anything I could just to link them back to my website to try and get to the top of Google.
Yeah.
And a couple of my videos did quite well. And over the years, I've had a few jobs off the back of, there's one in particular where I fix a load of soakers on a chimney. And it's my best ever video. Oh, you've got them up here, right? Scroll right to the bottom and you'll see soaker demonstration video. Thumbnail is absolutely rubbish. I don't know why this video's done so well. It's just done so well. There it is. There it is. That one. Yeah. How many people have viewed that now?
150K.
Which for me is excellent.
It's brilliant.
Right? And everyone says, oh, this is really good. You presented it really well. I think I look like a scarecrow on it, looking really I've had loads of work off the back of it. And talking to a friend back in October last year, he'd seen it or something, and he just encouraged me to make more videos. And I really like making videos. It's fun. I was getting a bit fed up with the whole job, it's just same day in, day out, getting a bit boring, just getting a bit disillusioned with it all, like you do after 20 years, I suppose. But this has sort of reinvigorated me a bit.
That's very cool. Yeah, I know what you mean. For me, sometimes it's the most interesting part of the job is like, how am I going to put this across in a video to make it interesting? And it does change the job.
Well, now, off the back of this, since we collaborated, so when did we work together? Last Wednesday, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I have been like scrolling YouTube, trying to find other people to potentially collaborate with, just because it's so much fun, trying to make videos of something a little bit different. So I'm thinking, who could I collaborate with?
I'll tell you what.
It'd be fun. I'm thinking I could be graffiti artists or,
Yeah.
Don't know.
What sort of work would you find interesting? What would you want to come out and do? Like gutter clearing, solar panel cleaning? Like what sort of stuff are you thinking?
I do that already. That's my job. I can make videos all day long about.
I'm sure after this, there's people in the chat that would probably want to get in touch, who might even have a YouTube channel. You know what I mean? I would like to make videos about things that I don't generally do. Coming to work with you, it was like being back at school doing the what was when you went to a company for a day and work experience. Yeah,
it's like work experience, and it was fun. It's fun. So I would like to go and do some work experience for somebody else. Make me an offer. What do you do?
Well, how would people get in touch with you if they had an offer? Because I'm sure there's going to be people that see this. Generally, these live streams, there's about 70 odd people watching. Within the next week, there'll be about another 1,000 people that watch this. And so, if there are,
I'm all like my website. You can find me. My website is also linked to my YouTube channel. My contact details are there.
So the contact form on the website would be best, you think?
Yeah.
DJI.
I don't want to be in
hyphen
phone calls.
Sorry.
Crazy offers.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. There's a little bit of a delay on the Discord, and so sometimes I'm talking over you because you start talking just as I do. But the website is dji-uk.co.uk.
Yeah, you'll find me there.
You had a cool idea with your cherry picker the other day. I was complaining about how heavy my high pressure hose was.
Is Darren from PWS still in that chat?
I think so. I think he's in the bath. I was just reading he's watching from the bath.
Right. Well, I rang you on Friday, Darren, And I know you're going to get back to me because you always claim how good your customer service is whenever you go on podcasts and things like that. So this is one thing. I want to come and see Darren, and he can help me wire up the hoses that are in the machine, and we'll get the high pressure washer blasting through the cherry picker, and we can make a video about it. And how much fun would that be?
So you've got,
and we can have
like hydraulic lines already existing there where you can where you can feed the water from the bottom of the picker to the top to the basket.
Yes.
Without needing to hang any hoses. That could be, we don't say this very often on the channel, but that could be an absolute game changer, couldn't it?
Yeah, no, it would. I was thinking that myself, and it would be it's already got it's the hoses are there. The machine comes fitted with them as standard, so it's just a case of getting the right connectors on them. Really super simple job.
What would stop you mounting a pressure washer, a small pressure washer? Because if it's roof cleaning that you're doing, you don't need a hell of a lot of flow and pressure, because you don't want to destroy the roof. So what's stopping you mounting a small pressure washer on the bottom of the cherry picker?
Do you know what I was thinking this today, actually? After cleaning my patio, I was thinking, I don't really need this pressure washer for cleaning roofs. I've got a small Karcher, just a DIY thing that I bought from Screwfix that would be quite capable of cleaning a roof with a cherry picker. So yeah, I was thinking something similar myself. And I
think you'd regret that personally. I think it would take you ages with a little Karcher. I reckon your JCB, just with the revs turned down, would be ideal.
Yeah.
Less flow, less pressure. You wouldn't need to go crazy with it, but I reckon that'd be an ideal machine for roof cleaning.
Yeah, I certainly don't think I need to be spending any more money on more expensive, high-powered equipment. Definitely. I recently cleaned a roof with a Karcher, just because he wanted the moss off it, and I thought it'd be just easier to take my Karcher before I had the JCB machine. And it did all right.
How big was the roof?
It was only little. I only charged him 250 quid. But I was already up there doing other bits, like pointing the ridges, and it was just he's actually a guy that found me on YouTube, and I almost got the impression that I was there because he wanted to have me over.
That's cool.
I cleaned his solar panels, I cleaned his roof, and I repointed his ridges and fitted some air vents. It was a nice day, and it was a nice guy. The sun was shining, and it was just a nice, steady job. I enjoyed cleaning them.
I've had a couple of customers now that have been, over 3 hours away, and I've said to them, look, I can give you a price, but I'm not going to be competitive. You're a 6-hour round trip. It's going to probably take us 2 trips because we're sealing. We've got to clean it and then wait for it to dry and come back on a dry day. There's 2 of us in the van. It's not just fuel. It's the time in the van as well, which a lot of people forget to charge when they're first starting out. I'm not going to be competitive. I could be almost double what you'd pay someone locally, and they say I don't care. I've seen you on YouTube. I've read your reviews. I want you to do it, and it's very nice. It's a cool moment, but also it's like, surely these people have got better things to spend their money on.
You know what strikes me is so going back to the chimney soaker demonstration video, when I was getting work off the back of that, people would ring me up and they'd want me to do the job, and they trusted me. They just trusted me, and all because I'd made a video. Now, I am an honest guy, but then a dishonest guy would say that as well. But because you make YouTube videos, for some reason, people trust you, and you know, and that's it. And
Yeah.
they'll get you to travel 3 hours because they trust you,
Yeah.
because they've seen your work and whatnot. And I think it's odd because you could be anyone really. Just because you're something on YouTube doesn't mean you're that person in real life
Yeah.
necessarily.
I've just had a
But
thought,
it's
slightly changing the subject a little bit. We were just talking about your JCB. If you were to
yeah,
use that on the roof, I think you
yeah.
might benefit from having to doing what Darren's done. I think Darren's done this in his latest video.
It's the flow thing.
Fitting a return
what
to tank bypass.
Oh, right. So that means you don't have to spray water through the machine, and that will prevent it from burning out the pump. Is that what we were getting at?
Yeah. So as far as I'm aware, some of the smaller machines, every time you have your hand off the trigger, the
Yeah.
water's just recirculating in the pump, and eventually
So
eventually the water's just going to get hotter and hotter, and it's not going to cool itself. Whereas if you were to fit a different unloader valve or potentially a different pump, depending on whether it's all cast into the same thing or whether you've got an unloader that you can remove and replace, you can bypass the pump when you've got your hand off the trigger, and that can go back into your buffer tank and just keep recirculating. So say you've got a 210 or 250 litre buffer tank, it's got to take all the time for all that water to heat up, which it probably just won't. So you could potentially be off the trigger all day and not cause any damage to your pump. Are you planning on having a buffer tank with your machine, or you are? Okay.
Yes. Yes. I've got a buffer tank. One came with it, and I've been using it today, and it's been really good. So yeah, I was planning on that. Although I don't know, would it run nicely off the mains? Probably would.
What machine is it? What litre is it? Do you know?
It's the one that is that JCB one that Sid was like.
The JCBs that they're all. I think you can get like a 10 litre per minute. You can get a 13 or a 15. I think you've probably got the 15 litre per minute then. But yeah, I mean, if you've got a customer's tap that's putting out 15 litres per minute, you'll be fine. But if it's doing anything less, there's a chance that you're going to run your pump a little bit dry, potentially.
But this is another thing. So, if you're on a cherry picker on a roof, but mind you, it's the same for you guys who are on a tower, I suppose, who, if you haven't got anyone down below, what do you guys do if you're on a tower and you need to go and turn the machine off? You have to stop the machine running. It's going to take you a few minutes to get down there, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah,
this is probably for everyone cleaning.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking, like, you're going to spend a lot of time off the trigger, just sort of getting set up and getting into position and stuff. So that'll probably be a good idea.
This thought crossed my mind today because, like I say, I've been cleaning my patio, but I've been filming cleaning my patio because it's part of I'm setting up a pressure washer business playlist. And there's been quite a few periods of time where I had to be off the trigger for, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. I actually went and turned the machine off. I did, because in my previous videos, I've got everybody saying, oh, don't run the pump dry. It's like a massive deal. People are they get quite upset about it if you start your machine without it being plugged in, to water.
Yeah.
So I was quite conscious of not running it dry. But yeah. I do like the sound of a return to tank valve, so that I could just leave it running if needs be.
I think Darren would be the man to do that for you if you were to be visiting him anyway. Lindsay says, where are you from?
Nottinghamshire.
Are you planning on getting anything else to did you say earlier that you're going to potentially be avoiding the ground surfaces and just focusing on roofs?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this, and I think if I was to go for the ground surfaces, then if you've got the high access company that all of a sudden cleans driveways, It's a bit strange, really.
Mm.
Whereas the high access company that also cleans roofs, I don't really need to be changing my logos, changing the name of the company,
Yeah.
and doing that and the other. So yeah, the chances are I won't be doing the
Well,
cleaning driveway patios.
I was thinking you must be sort of multidisciplinary to do the stuff that you're doing anyway. Like, I know you come from a building background, but roofs and the stuff that you encounter is like pretty complicated, and just even something like pigeon proofing, like that's a whole job in itself, and yet you've decided to do that as well, and like all these different services that you offer.
Pigeon proofing's not something I've decided to do. Pigeon proofing, I quite often go to Warwick working for a roofing company, and the pigeon proofing just came across my desk one day. It came in my sheet of papers.
Right.
Go and put mesh around these solar panels. So it's like, fine, just go and do that. But I think, with these things, they're only difficult if you make them difficult, and you soon learn, don't you?
Yeah, and that stuff makes me nervous. In the beginning, I was thinking like, when I first started my pressure washing business, I thought I could do like driveways, and I could do car washing and stuff. If I get a bit quiet, I can learn how to I can wash cars. And then when I was looking into detailing, like what actually goes into becoming a professional detailer, it's like a whole new body of knowledge of the process of properly cleaning a car, like things like contactless washes, the different products that you need to use. And then it's like people are going to be expecting you to offer the interior cleaning as well. So that's another thing. That's more equipment than I need, like a vacuum and stuff. And then I was thinking, I don't know if I want to do all this. That's a whole extra discipline in itself. And then I was looking at the window cleaning and thinking, God, there's a skill to window cleaning as well. Like, so all these little upsells and these little additional services, I feel like, for me to do them, I'd be nervous that I'm not doing them properly. I suppose, I don't know. It just worries me.
Coming from Jake, because actually, cleaning driveways and hard surfaces and roofs. So I've gone on a little. I've been educating myself on it, and there's a lot more to it. If you want to do it properly, like you say, you've got to start thinking about biocide and hypo solution and this, that, and the other. So, my first video I made when I was trying to clean my patio, I'm just splashing hypo solution all over the place. And I go back inside the house, and the wife's complaining that the kids are complaining that their eyes are stinging and their throats are hurting. Then she starts looking on the internet that the bloody Germans were using it as mustard gas in World War One. So all of a sudden, it's like, Christ, okay, so I've just been merrily splashing this stuff about, but it's deadly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you have to seriously get educated on these chemicals that you're using, and also the machine breaks down. All of a sudden, you've got to learn how to fix the machine and this, that, and the other. So I know what you're saying. Roof cleaning and roof repairs, completely different ball game.
Yeah.
But I feel I've got a handle on it now. And if I don't venture too far into other surface cleaning, so for cleaning a roof, we'll jet wash it or scrape it, and then we'll put some biocide on it. Mm-hmm. Now I only need to learn about one product and one pressure washer.
Yeah.
Happy day.
Yeah. I think it's easy when you're a new business, first starting out, to just take every job that comes your way. I got into things like garden clearances. I laid patios. They said will you come round and have a look at my patio? I actually think I need a new one. Would you do a new one for me? And it's like, hang on, you called me to pressure wash your patio, not to lay a new one. What? And some of them I was entertaining, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. I laid some artificial grass for one customer because they wanted their driveway washed, and then they wanted their turf replaced with artificial grass, and I was like, yeah, I can do that. And
how did it go?
I did it. And I learned, I said to them, I was very open and honest, and I said, look, I've never done this before. I've done, I can research it. I'm sure I could absolutely do it, no problem. I ended up digging out all the grass, hiring a skip. I ended up relaying the curbing that went all the way around the lawn. I laid this artificial grass, and it looked great. And I rossed their drive, and I resanded it. And this was like very early days, and it looked great. The result was epic. I don't know how it looks now. It could have fallen to pieces now, but it's like, I think you've got to, especially not you, but like other people that are just starting out, I think you've got to be very selective about what you take on, and try not to get too swayed by what the customer is asking you to do, because they'll ask you to do all sorts way beyond the scope of your job.
So I do have a niche. Like I said, when I first sort of started in business, well, not when I first started, but there was a point that I decided that I'm only going to work on the outside of a property. And then there was a point that I decided that I'm only going to do things high up. So my niche is, I'll only work high up kind of thing. But as a result of that, I do end up doing a few different bits and pieces high up. But what you have got to be careful of. So I drive a Hilux, as you know. There's only so much kit you can fit in a Hilux. So I have everything I should ever need. Any task I come across, I've probably got what I need in the Hilux to get it fixed, or temporarily get it fixed, or at least get me out of trouble. So, but if I was also hanging doors and skirting and fixing taps and changing light bulbs and that kind of thing, you'd need a massive van, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So you can only do so much. So I do have a niche, and that's doing jobs that need doing off a cherry picker.
Yeah, this was like an internal battle I had when pressure washing season was over, sort of towards the end of September, October time. It absolutely, it just dies on its arse. There's no pressure washing work coming in unless you've got like schools or commercial stuff to fall back on. And I was
what are you doing?
So I started doing gutter clearing, which sort of seemed to go hand in hand with exterior cleaning. I didn't want to do it. It was like, I have to do this. I have to buy this. I think the vacuum was about 460 quid plus the poles. I was like, I don't want to buy this, but I need to buy it because it's going to get me through the winter, hopefully. And it did.
Don't you find though, Jake, when you're cleaning a driveway, do you not say, "Oh, I'll do your gutters for an extra 30 quid"?
I do now, and it's not 30 quid anymore. It might have been a while back.
Yeah, 20 years ago. Yeah, I don't know what you said. I said
it'd be about 80 quid now as like probably a minimum charge.
It's a little add on for the day, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean that's a nice point for if you're going to be there anyway. You just get to send Jakey round.
Yeah,
clearing, sucking out those gutters.
Definitely, if you're already there, you could probably charge less than that for the average house these days. But yeah, it's a nice little upsell, and it's good to have stuff like that in the van. Like, we can carry the little Panther gutter vacuum around with us all the time because it's just so small. You can just keep it in the van. I've got all my poles mounted on the wall of the van, so it's just ready to go, and gets you out of some sticky situations sometimes with drainage as well. So it's good to have.
Well, what about, because this is another thing, drains. But a lot of people don't like drains. I used to quite like drains myself because I used to charge, and this again, it's going back 15, 20 years ago, £95 plus VAT to clear a drain. And because you've got all the jet washing equipment, you just get a different hose with a different attachment, and you send the drain, you hose down the drains and jet them out. And when I was cleaning driveways way back in the beginning, I would be offering, it'd be an extra 30 quid to clear your gutters. And if you want me to jet your drains out at the same time to make sure they're flowing nicely, that'll be an extra 50 quid or something. Before you know it, you're adding an extra, keep upselling ultimately.
Yeah. It does sound like a good, another service that goes hand in hand. But again, the worry is that I don't know enough about drainage to feel confident in offering that service just yet. I suppose I could look into it, but
when I first, going back then, I didn't know, but when I first started out in business, I was 21 and I'd only been out of school. I mean, I left school at 18. So actually, when I first started in business, bugger all, didn't know anything. But, you know, you soon get thrown, you learn when you get thrown into these situations, don't you?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're jetting drains. You have to learn how to bloody do it quick, don't you? I mean,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I suppose you're a doer, and I am a bit of a worrier. That's probably where we differ quite a lot. I will sit and stew over stuff for ages and ages and ages, and I will talk myself out of doing stuff if once I've weighed up the pros and cons. Say that again.
I say it's easier nowadays with YouTube as well. You can learn, you can become an expert in anything. Just you know, through YouTube. It's there was none of that back then.
Yeah, it's very true. I'm very conscious of your time. I've had you for an hour. Do you want to go for a bit longer, or do you want to wrap it up?
I'm all right. I'm all right. If you're all right.
What does that mean?
Well, I can keep going if people watching aren't getting bored. You know.
I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they're absolutely fine. Let's go back to the day rate thing. What were you going to ask me?
Have you figured out a break-even point? And are you willing to share what you need to be earning a day to break even?
No.
I mean, question, so you don't have to by any means.
No, that's fine.
Not in this.
No, I should have figured out a day rate, and I sort of did. I had my accountant sort of broke it down to me at one point, and he said, like, your day rate isn't just what do you think you need per, like, what wage would you like to take home per day? It's got nothing to do with your wage. It's the running costs of the business. Things like your insurance. You've got to consider your 20% tax you're going to probably put away. You've got to also consider things like wear and tear on your vehicle. If you plan on upgrading your vehicle in the next 12 months, you've got to factor the cost of that into your day rate today in order to prepare yourself for that upgrade. There's so many things I hadn't even considered. And now that I've got Jakey with me as well, I honestly wouldn't know. I think if we've earned between £500 to £700, I think that's a decent day, and we're doing that consistently, 5 days a week now. So I think we're good.
That's interesting, because I asked you the other Wednesday, how much would this driveway cost? And you said it'd be about 250 quid, and it would take us 3 hours with two of us. Are you finding enough work to be doing 3 of those a day?
Yeah. That one was a little bit different because it was out in Walsall, so we've travelled to the job and stuff.
You wouldn't go there. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's not worth it. I understand. You're finding enough of that quickly.
Yeah, 100%. And some of the smaller jobs, well, I'm booked up now till the second week of July. So what are we on now? 26th of, what are we on? May. Yeah, so just over a month, really, a month and a half we booked up for, which is good, because I've noticed a lot of other people in the industry are saying it's really quiet, and things have gone quiet for a lot of people. And I said in my video the other day, even the chaps that do like SEO on Facebook and stuff, they're saying this is the quietest May in years, and no one really knows why. But if we're getting, like, for a little drive, I could only be charging about 160 quid for a little block paved drive, like a single car drive and stuff. And you got to weigh it up, because for me and Jakey, there's 2 of us. There's always 2 of us, so I've got to think about his wages as well. It's not like, it's only a small job, I'll turn up on my own sort of thing. It's 2 of us regardless. And it's still the setup time, the clearing up afterwards, and it's the difference between a small drive and a big drive isn't really that much in the grand scheme of things. It's still arriving on site, setting up, the cleaning, there's not too much disparity in the size of the jobs really when we're cleaning stuff. I don't really know what I'm trying to say. What was the original question? Are we filling the calendar?
The question was about filling the calendar with. But you're probably going to say here then, Jake, is when you've got lots of these small jobs, that's when you're doing the good days, I should imagine. They're the good days.
I don't know. I think the good days generally seem to be 2 big jobs. So a job that's going to take us half a day, if we get 2 of them a day, we could easily be earning over £1,000. But the little ones, I've got to do like 3 or 4 to make it even worth the day, and I've got to plan them so that they're local as well. Else, there's no good me going to Stratford to do a little drive. You won't know these areas, but Stratford to do a little drive, and then I go the other end of Bromsgrove to do another one, and then Ashford Bank to do some gutter clearing. It's just too far out the way, and so I've got a very. Luckily, I'm booked far enough ahead where I can just drop smaller jobs in here and there if we've got time, and it's. When I say 2 big jobs or 3 or 4 little ones, we're still generally finished by 2-3 o'clock most days. So some of our busier days, we can be going till 5 o'clock, or if we've travelled, normally the ones where we've travelled to like central Birmingham or something, we're not back till 6 p.m. But that's very rare. I don't like to do those ones really. No.
Do you have a minimum charge then?
Pressure washing, my minimum charge was about 125 quid just to even turn up really. Even if it's just a little path or a patio or something. Now,
cheap.
It is cheap. That was when I first started. I'd be more like 145, 150 quid now, I think. Because in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of setup. We can pull up, especially if we're just using one machine, we can pull the low pressure hose out, turn the water on, and we can literally get started within 5 minutes if we wanted to. Depends how chatty the customer is sometimes.
Are you carrying water? You're not carrying water, right?
We can. I've got a 250 litre tank in the van.
Okay.
I like to keep that around about half full, just so that we can turn the machine on as soon as we get there if we need to.
Yep.
But I tend not to, just because it can, do things like increase your braking distance. It can decrease your fuel consumption, all that sort of stuff, and it's not particularly safe to keep a load of water on in the van.
I used to have. Do you know those IBCs that you get on farms?
Mm-hmm.
No baffles in, nothing like that. I used to carry 1,000 litres in the back of my Transit. What a sketchy that was. It wasn't strapped down or anything.
Oh my God.
You think, Christ, I'm lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
But I'm still here.
Yeah. What's your plan for the channel? What's your plan? I'll do that question separately afterwards. What's your plan for the YouTube channel?
Currently, I'm enjoying making videos, and I would like to grow it. It would be nice to grow it, but I don't. Do you know what? I should have a plan, because if you just drift along without a plan, who knows? You're not really going anywhere. Currently, I'm enjoying YouTube. I enjoy making the videos, and I would love to see it grow. I mean, I would love to get sent one of those YouTube things so I could have it on my wall back there. It's 100K subscribers, but
Well, I ask you.
At the moment, my target is 10,000, and I would consider myself YouTube famous if I can get to 10,000.
That's a good goal. The reason I ask you is because me and Jakey were talking about it the other day, and I think our channel needs some sort of direction rather than just making videos about the stuff we do day to day. And maybe this is interesting, we'll just film it. I want some sort of structure, I think, and I want to go in some sort of direction where it's repeatable. I've got a recipe for like good videos, and I haven't got that yet. So,
well, this is it. So I like to do my little playlists and have separate things. So I'm currently, I've got playlists that I've got on the go. I've got a day in the life with the cherry picker man. So if ever I have a day where I've got 3 or 4 different little jobs that I can film, I'll go around, I'll film them, and it'll be a day in the life type film. I was doing that down in Warwick, but I got in trouble after some questionable health and safety things happened. So
What, you got in trouble in the comments or?
no, I got in trouble. Got in trouble for the company I was working for. So, unfortunately, I can't do that anymore.
Because they saw the video?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes. I know. So, but don't mention that to anyone, okay?
Oh, someone, Brad in the chat has just said Dan is like the Colin Furze of exterior cleaning. I totally agree. That's I can't believe he's just said that.
I was going to try. I was talking to my brother-in-law about Colin Furze because he's a local, Stamford. He's quite close to me. I was going to approach him, see if he wants to maybe put a flamethrower on my cherry picker so we can do some moss removal on roofs or something like that. That'd be a fun video. Collaborations.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So yeah, going back to my playlist, I've got the day in the life of the cherry picker man. So that's because you struggle, don't you? With the how-to videos. There's only so many how-to videos you can make until you start doing the same. Because how to clean a driveway, how to clean another driveway, how to clean a path, how to clean a patio. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah,
and it's the same with me because my job. I mean, you say that I do lots of varied things. I don't. So I'll be fixing chimneys all week next week and occasionally clearing a gutter and then maybe fixing a tile. It's only because I happened to be clearing some ivy. I thought, oh, excellent. I'm going to make a video of it. And I might have even particularly gone after that job just so I could make a video about it. That job's like excellent YouTube opportunity. So it is hard. So I've got the day in the life of the cherry picker man sort of playlist. I've got the starting a pressure washer business playlist, which has been quite good fun and it's been educational. And my subscribers are really good because they're really kind. And if you're honest with them and say, hey, do you know what? I don't actually know what I'm doing. They're quite kind to you in the respect of they'll tell you. They'll say, well, actually, you don't want to do it like this. You do it like that. And I haven't had any, get out of the business, you cowboy. None of that.
Yeah,
it's all been good.
That was like a trap that I've fallen into a few times where I've got to the point where I think, okay, I'm pretty competent at this now. And you get into sort of teaching mode and you start teaching and that's when people sort of turn on you and think, hang on, have you got the authority to start teaching? And then, by the way, you've got this wrong, you got this wrong, you got this wrong. And if you just say, actually, this is just how I'm doing it.
How I do it. You do it however you want to do it. This is how I'm doing it. Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of people that start, particularly in this industry, they'll start doing something and a month in, they're making videos, how to do this, how to do that, and teaching other people how to do it when they've only been doing it a month themselves.
The trouble is, though, what I've found is any video with how to in the beginning of it seems to do really well. So I've got a few that how to remove a chimney or how to use a mortar gun. They've been really good. But again, I'm like you. I don't like to say because ultimately I say I'm from a building background. I don't actually have any qualifications in anything. I just know how to do stuff. I just competent at things. My only qualifications are I've got an IPAF certificate, so I can legally operate that cherry picker, and I've got a driver's license, so I can drive the truck. Other than that, I'm just winging it, and have been for 20 years. So I get roofers all the time saying, "Oh, this, that, and the other." I'll be on a roof and I'll say, right, this roof is leaking and it's my job to stop this leak. So I'm going to do it this way. It's a bodge. Granted, it's a bodge. It's not how they teach you to do it in college, but it will stop the leak.
And it's probably the most cost-effective way for the customer as well.
Yeah, but you'll get the roofers saying, oh, you can't do that. You've done this wrong, blah, blah, blah. And you think, well, actually, look at the brief. The brief was to stop the leak, get to the next job. Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. So wind your neck in. If you're that perfect, right, wind your neck in.
Have you got any advice for a new business?
advice for a new business.
It sounds like like I said earlier, it sounds like you've built your business mainly on relationships and sort of the fact that you don't really have to advertise. Surely there's something in that you can pass on to someone else.
I think actually me and you come from a very similar school of thought. So you, in a lot of your videos and things, you talk about the compound effect. One of my favorite books was a book called The Slight Edge, which is very similar. So you've got The Slight Edge, you've got Atomic Habits, and you've got the compound effect. And
I couldn't get into Atomic Habits. I tried to read Atomic Habits and I just couldn't get it.
It's worth bearing, but if you've read the compound effect, it doesn't matter. And basic moral of the story, and it's not just business, it's life and it's attitude, and it's like mental attitude, is just be persistent, just keep going. And if you fail, you're not failing, you're just learning how not to do it. Just try and be optimistic about everything. Don't let failure get you down, and just keep going, because if you're just persistent and keep going at it, then you'll have success, or you'll get there in the end. And that's what I would say. If you're a new business setting up, don't let things knock you back. And this is the same on YouTube. This is why I think I've been able to do YouTube. You get these negative comments, don't let them get to you. Just keep going and keep going. And after a while, good things happen. And that's what I would say to anyone setting out in business. Oh, and don't overthink it either. Mm-hmm. Don't be worried about jetting the drains because you don't know what you do. Start jetting. Yeah. You'll soon learn.
Yeah, I think just building off the back of that, I would also, I think it was in the compound effect where it said something along the lines of, when you sort of hit a brick wall or a point of failure, that's where a lot of other people jump ship and they drop off and they do something else because they think it's not working because they've failed. And then if you go sort of through that wall and hit the next point of failure, more people drop off. And the more times you fail, the closer you'll get to your goal. And the more times you fail, the further ahead than all those other people that jumped ship earlier on you'll be. And when you start to think of things like that, like how much are you willing to endure to become whatever your definition of successful is? And I think that's a good way of thinking about it. Yeah.
That reminds me of a little story that Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich. The 3 feet from gold story.
No.
Have you read that one?
No.
Have you read Think and Grow Rich?
No.
You strike me as the kind of man that would have. And I'm surprised at you. You should. It's like, you should get it on audio.
Think and Grow Rich.
Bloody hell, Jake! Don't tell me you haven't even heard of it.
No.
Come on, this is like the main book. This is the one, Napoleon Hill. So, I can't remember the names or whatever, but there was and this book was written probably 100 years ago, maybe, but it's all about mindset. A guy, he gets himself a load of equipment to set up a gold mine, right? He starts this gold mine, strikes gold, happy days, rushes back to his family, gets them all to invest lots of money in his gold mine so he can buy more equipment to mine more gold. And all of a sudden the vein runs dry, right? So he's mining and mining and mining, and he's not getting any gold. He's in despair and he gives up, and he goes to the local scrap dealer and sells all his equipment to the scrap dealer. Scrap dealer takes the equipment, goes back to his mine, starts digging, and in the next 3 feet strikes the vein again. Mm-hmm. And he's onto a massive vein of gold. And it was like 3 feet from gold. This guy was 3 feet away because he gave up 3 feet, and he gave up. And, it was 3 feet from success.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is, yes, you failed, but you might be failing, but that failure might just, you might only be feet away from success, and just keep going.
I think in the exterior cleaning business, gold is summer, and and the scrap man is winter. You tend to find a lot of people start up their business, best time of year is sort of April, May, and they strike gold and they think, God, this is amazing, I'm getting loads of customers and all this sort of stuff. And then come end of September, the vein runs dry and they think, oh, what have I done? I've got all this expensive equipment, I've invested everything into it, it's not working, I need to sell up. And you find all their equipment on eBay or Facebook Marketplace.
Right. I should have bear that in mind when I had this idea. I should have, mind you, I did all right with my little jet wash.
Yeah.
That takes me back to, did you ever answer the question, what do you do in winter then?
Yeah,
you
so
clear gutters. What do you do?
It was mainly vacuuming gutters. I started doing roofs as well, which I'll be quite honest, it's not my favourite work. It's very, very difficult. Now that we've found a bit of a strategy with the roof scraping, we all, to be fair, me, my brother, Jakey, Richard, I think we all prefer being on the roof. I think we can do a better job scraping the moss off the roof. And so I like the idea of doing some rope access courses, although I'm struggling to find the right one that's suitable for what the exact work that we want to do. Rope access courses that's going to allow me and Jakey to safely traverse a roof, which is going to be covered by my insurance and all that sort of stuff.
That gets me thinking. So I've been thinking a lot recently after we worked together using that long reach pole, which was really hard work, particularly when we tried to do the backside of it, which I don't think will work off the cherry picker. And I've been thinking about how I can make it easier and more effective. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put ladders on the backside with a fall arrest system on me, full body harness with a full fall arrest system, and just walk up and down crawlers, jet washing it with a small lance. That is what I'm thinking.
Fall arrest system from the cherry picker or from the top of the ladders?
Either or, preferably the cherry picker. But if that's not an option, I'd do it off the ladders.
So you're going to hang the basket above the ridge and sort of...
I will rest the basket on the ridge.
Right, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Which would be nice and safe.
Yeah. It's always a weird area with roofs because people are very quick to take photos of people stood on a roof and mock them and say, look at this cowboy. And it's like, hang on. What are they doing wrong? First of all, let's look at it objectively. Like, what do they have roof ladders? Are they harnessed in? Are they using a tower? Like, there's lots of different ways to do this one job, and all roofs are different. And I feel like if you're mitigating risk and you're not avoiding your insurance, there's lots of different ways you can be doing it. Just because it's not the way that you would do it, it doesn't mean that it's wrong necessarily. And I think, do you think roof ladders, tying onto a roof ladder, would you consider that safe? Because I think I would.
Safe.
Yeah.
Safe for me. And to be quite honest with tying onto roof, if I'm fixing a roof and I have to use roof ladders for whatever reason, I always carry roof ladders. And sometimes I'll take the roof ladders up on the basket of the cherry picker, hook them onto the back of the roof and go and fix a tile or something. As a general rule, I won't harness up for that. And the only reason I would harness up when jet washing is because I would be stood up on the roof ladders, walking up and down roof ladders. So, I wouldn't be on all fours. Yeah. I'd be standing upright.
Yeah.
And that would be the only reason I'd harness up in those circumstances. And yeah, I think that's safe enough. Yeah. I think, yeah. You can walk on most roofs, to be perfectly honest. On a lot of cases, if I've got a tile to fix that's the middle of the roof, I won't even put roof ladders on. I'll just go down.
I suppose it depends on the pitch and it depends on the type of tile, doesn't it?
Yeah, obviously, if they're clay tiles or slates, you can't really do that. But these big Marley Moderns, these big concrete tiles, you can walk up and down them, no problem.
I think
you can even swap them out, walk up the lats if you want to. Yeah,
the issue comes when you're using, high pressure equipment on a roof. Yeah. And when the roof's wet. Yeah. There's different ways of doing things. I'm always very careful about what I'm posting on YouTube because I know, even though me and Jakey are doing something that's perfectly safe, we're going to be absolutely roasted in the comments. So it's not even worth posting. But
I'm not like I don't get too worried about the comments, but I have got myself into trouble for posting things that I shouldn't be posting. So I am now more cautious about, am I going to start wearing a harness? No. But am I going to like film myself walking across the ridge? We'll leave them out from now on. Sorry, because that would have been entertaining, I'm sure, but
yeah,
we'll not show. Not that I do that, obviously. But film it.
yeah. Have you got? I'm conscious of your time. I know you only said an hour earlier. Is there anything you've been wanting to? I know you're starting your pressure washing journey. I'm sure you've already got plenty of experience from back in the day. But is there anything that you wanted to talk about before you head off, or are you good?
If you've got a neighbour that's being a bit of an arse, is it acceptable to pressure wash their cat?
I wouldn't directly pressure wash the cat. I might put some hypo down. Put some hypo down or some biocide and kill it slowly rather than killing it on the day.
Yeah, because you're more likely to get away with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think
that answers your question, the early question.
that is probably the sensible approach if you want to get away with it. Oh yeah, okay. Question for you then, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Top tip for building a YouTube channel.
Oh, easily just consistency. I think the same with my business. The only thing that's ever worked for me, the only two things that have ever worked and I've ever been remotely good at or successful at are the two things that I've been the most consistent at, and it's pressure washing and YouTube. That's not to say you don't have to post good content. I'm trying to make it better every day, but it's literally just being consistent. I try and upload at least once a week. Sometimes it's not always possible, but I mean, these live streams, I can't believe there's 80 odd people watching, or my thing might have froze. I reckon there's about 80 people watching, but like, this just seems wild to me. And that might not seem like a very high number for some people, but it's every single week. It's every single Monday. And the only reason they're here is because I do it every week and people know that I do it every week. So.
Yeah. And it's nice, isn't it? That I take it the people that are here, most of them come every week. So,
yeah,
they're enjoying your content, clearly.
I think so. And it's people that are all either looking to get into the industry, they're dipping their toes in, or they're already quite well established and maybe they pick up a couple of tips along the way, or maybe they just like listening to something that's within their ballpark, within their, what's it called? Remit?
Sphere.
Yeah. I'm only watching for the cherry picker man. Okay, thanks, Arden.
Oh, hey, how does he know the cherry picker man? Arden Jet Washing Services. I don't think I've read him. I've got I've got a few sort of loyal subscribers that always comment on my videos, so I'm starting to know them now, which is nice. There was one in here earlier. Oh gosh, what was his name? What's his name? He commented on your video. Oh,
I think I saw that comment. No, I think I saw that comment. What's the spec of the machine for the price, Joan? Oh, you're talking to someone else. Doesn't matter. Matt says he forces me into a small room and refuses to feed me unless I turn up every Monday to send help.
Nick H, there he is. That's one of my subscribers.
Cedars says, before you go, bust a few curls out with them weights.
Really?
So you're so underneath that t-shirt there, apparently you're absolutely jacked, aren't you?
Ripped. And I was thinking maybe that I should start doing a few videos like with my top off, because I might start getting like lady subscribers.
That's a
Who
good
knows? There
idea.
might be an out there for me.
What did you say
But
you do again? You,
you've got Jakey.
I have got Jakey.
He's
Yeah, he is. Yeah. We just park him on the end of the drive with his vest on. We don't have to put leaflets out. We just get people from across the street sort of coming over and asking us.
and no one messes with you either, because he's just stood there like that. Don't mess with Jakey. I'm an egg.
What do you do again? What do you train for? You were sort of halfway through telling me, and then we never got to the end of it.
I train for longevity because I've got a 5-year-old, not 5-year-old, 5-month-old daughter, and I've got a 6.5-year-old daughter, and I'm almost 42. So, well, I'm an old dad, so I don't want to be the old man in the playground. So there's that. But I have I'll tell you what happened. So one of my other avenues of revenue streams is I make and hire out giant garden games. Right? A bit random, but I like woodwork. And I was at a wedding fair and happened across a personal trainer who was advertising get in shape for your wedding day services. And I was 39 at the time. I'm 41 now, almost 42. And I was getting podgy. And for a long time, I was thinking, oh, crap, I'm getting fat, I'm getting old, I'm getting injured, I'm slow, I'm weak, and feeling my age. And I happened across this guy, started talking to him. Before I know it, I'm on a Zoom call with him and signing up for his services. Cut long story short, I'm having to pay for his services. So I think, right, bloody hell, I better do what he says. And as a result, sorted out my diet, started training, started feeling great, and sort of went down a rabbit hole of learning all about longevity, which is nutrition, sleep, cold water exposure, how to breathe properly, all this kind of stuff. And currently in July, I'm going to be doing a photo shoot, which is just something to train for. So I'm on a bit of a mad diet, getting rid of all my body fat, so that this sounds a bit. It's not the most masculine thing to be admitting.
It's cool. Go on.
But before the photo shoot, they'll be shaving off all my hair, spraying a load of spray tan on me, oiling me up, and photographing me.
Is this for like a before and after, before you started the program sort of thing?
Well, we've done that already. I'm well into it now. So I've been sort of on my longevity journey, let's call it, for about almost 2 years. And I've done a photo shoot before. I just agreed to do this next one just because it gives me something to train for and just something to do.
Yeah, we need a Damn the Cherry Picker Man calendar. I agree. I agree with Arden.
Where's that say? Right, okay, cool. Only if Jakey will guest star with me, in my calendar.
Cedars wants it as well. Cedars wants the calendar. He said, I'll buy it.
There we go, merch. I'm not into the merch. Yeah, I haven't even monetized my channel, but we're already getting potential revenue streams. So that's good.
There you go. That's awesome, mate. I've been thinking for a while. I was speaking to Squeaky Clean Dave the other day as well. And he's going to the gym, and I was just thinking, like, I haven't reached my potential yet. I feel like I could be going to bed earlier, waking up earlier, being more productive, working out, exercise.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, get on. Can you have a look at In Shape with Ryan? Can you get him up there? He's my personal trainer, and he is brilliant. He's well worth a shout out. And totally, in my opinion, changed my life. I think as a result of this guy, Ryan Lewin, there he is. As a result of that guy, he's probably added 20 years onto my life. And he's a bloody nice chap as well. Oh, there I am. Look.
I was going to say, is that you?
That's me. That's me.
That one
Oh
there.
my goodness. Yeah.
God, that is a massive difference. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Look at your
And that's thanks
shoulders.
to Ryan. And yeah, no, that is all thanks to Ryan. So, guys, give him a follow.
That's very cool. I like it.
If any of you, are sort of in your 40s, feeling a bit sort of chubby and sluggish, and you're getting injuries and that kind of thing, and want to turn your life around, talk to Ryan. Seriously, best thing I ever did. Best thing I've done. And not only that, not only do I feel physically better, it clears your mind. It's really good for your head. Being physically fit is great for your head. It just clears all the fog, gets you focused. Can't speak highly enough about.
It sounds like that's my next. Like I've just done the stop drinking. I've been drinking for. I haven't been sober for over 10 years, and I've just stopped drinking at the beginning of February, I think. So I'm like almost 4 months. Well, over 4 months sober now. 3 months, over 3 months sober. For the first time in like over 10 years, and so I feel better. And I think, I want to wake up earlier. I want to get ahead. Really, the times where I have woken up at like 5:30 in the morning and just jumped on the computer and just started work, I feel like you're ahead of the rest of the world. You've got a head start on the rest of the world, and it's like quite powerful. You get so much done.
I agree. I get up at 5 every morning. So, I go to bed. It's past my bedtime now. I'll generally go to bed at about sort of 9, 9:30, and I'll get up at 5 in the morning, and I'll walk the dog. Then I'll have an hour in the gym. And then I go in the cold water plunge. And usually by that time, my daughter will get up about 7 o'clock. So I'll make her breakfast, then go to work, which, if I'm not working out, because every now and again I'll have a rest day, I'll start doing YouTube stuff, get on the computer. It really is the most productive time of the day. And for what I would ordinarily be doing, so I used to go to bed at about 11, 12 o'clock, just watching TV. So I've sacrificed a bit of TV time so I can go to bed a bit earlier, which means I've got this whole thing going on in the morning before anyone else is awake, which is, like I said, it's changed my life. Made me fitter, faster, stronger. I've got a 6-year-old daughter, and I can pick her up and I can put her on my shoulders like that, which is a massive deal for a dad to be able to do that. And she loves it. And I feel really proud that I can do that.
That's
as
very
a
cool.
41-year-old as well.
Yeah.
I'm an old man.
You should be proud of yourself, mate. It's awesome. And the fact that you're still trying to push yourself in business as well and try new things and stuff is very, very commendable. Awesome.
Well, I think actually, this is age thing again. So when you do get to 40, you realize that you haven't got that much working time left. So you need to start earning a bit of dosh while you can. If you want to put a few funds away for retirement, you've got to start thinking about retirement, haven't you? And so I'm working hard now in the hope that when I get to retirement age, I'm going to have a nice retirement, and hopefully, I'll be able to have a bit of dosh so I can sort of spend it on my grandkids and potentially great grandkids as well. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Deep there, aren't we?
I think we wrap it up there, mate. I think that was awesome. Do you want to do this again at some point?
Yeah, by all means. If you want to have me back, I'd love to come back. And I am currently looking out for an interesting job that we can both do. I've got one in mind. It's whether or not it comes off. I've got this really posh house. How much would you charge? Well, we'll have this conversation in Nottinghamshire. I'll get you up to Nottinghamshire to clean a really posh house if it comes off.
What, the roof?
No. It's like a big mansion, and it's all got this render all over it. And the render is it's green. It's horrible. But she actually needs to talk to Oh, it's not listed, but um, oh, what would you call it? Preservation people.
Yeah, like heritage stuff.
Heritage. That's the word I'm looking for. She needs to speak to Heritage before she can have it cleaned. Um, yeah. So, but if that comes off, that'd be fun. It'd be make a good video.
Yeah, it would.
Probably don't need a cherry picker there because you do it off long reach tools, but we can work it out, can't we?
Yeah, that might be cool. Yeah, send me the details.
I will if it all comes off. Nothing might not happen, but we'll see. If not, I've got my eyes open for an interesting job.
Yeah.
And like we said earlier on in the video, I am looking to collaborate with let's do something interesting. And Darren, I want to put high pressure hoses through that machine. Well, it's already got the hoses, but we need to connect them up. So you have my telephone number because the lovely lady who took my telephone call took it down on Friday. Give us a call.
Where can people find you? Have you got any socials, or is it just the YouTube and the website that you want
to? Currently, YouTube and the website. I'm not big on Instagram. I do need to sort that out. I have started TikTok, sort of half-assed a bit. Put all my thoughts on TikTok. Just because somebody said I should be there. But yeah, no, YouTube's where I like to be at the moment.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I know it's past your bedtime, so I really appreciate your time. That was really interesting.
Thank you. No, it's been a pleasure.
I'll see you again soon, mate.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers, Jay.
Bye.
Cheerio.
That was very cool, wasn't it? Nice little insight as to what it's like owning a cherry picker, I suppose. And it's like, I suppose it's kind of like a water-fed pole in some ways. It sort of opens up so many different opportunities as to stuff you can do now that you've got this new tool. Not new to him, I suppose, but it would be new to me if I had one. Like I say, I wouldn't even know where to park a cherry picker. We're looking at a house at the minute, and it's got like a decent amount of space around the outside of it, like space for like potentially a workshop and stuff. So that's pretty cool, quite exciting. So nab a crazy job, get a cherry picker and Dan for free. Challenge accepted. yeah. If anyone wants to collaborate with him, can't guarantee it'll be for free. I started watching him when he started doing jet washing. That's cool. Does anyone have anything they want to go over, or any questions and stuff? We've had a lot of entries for the before and after submissions, and I don't think we're not doing any sort of giveaways this week. But just a reminder for anyone that's in the Discord, you can go into the frozen. You can go into these before and after submissions in the Discord, which are just here, look. And you can upvote your favourite before and afters. And then maybe we'll figure out some sort of Discord only giveaway. I don't think we should do a full episode every week on these before and after submissions, because the last one took like 4 hours to get to the end of them, because there's quite a few. But it's cool to see the sort of work that people are doing. Cool to see some of these submissions. I'm really proud that there's people in this community that are putting out. I've upvoted this one because this one's an absolute banger. I'm really proud that these people are putting out such a high level of work. Like, look at that. Absolutely brilliant. That's Craig. Got some render here from Lee. Has anyone got anything they want to talk about? Please can you answer my donation? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. We were mid chat and we got a couple of We got a couple of boosted members. Let's have a look. Harvey Baker has become a boosted member. Thank you so much. Hang on. The Iron Down has subscribed. Rich. Rich has become a member. Thank you so much, mate. Harvey's become a member. BF Lion has donated £3 and said, "Hi everyone. How do you manage the GDPR? You sign a contract with collabs with clients and then you can start filming and posting on YouTube." It's not that in-depth, mate. It's literally, do you mind if I take pictures and videos for my socials? And 9 times out of 10 it's, yeah, that's fine, don't worry about it. Do what you want. I don't put anything in writing. Do you think I should? I can see the potential issues there, but I don't know. Thank you for the donation. SpacePod has become a member. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. And Zstar has subscribed. Imagine getting the cleaning contract at Buckingham Palace. Yeah. I'm interested in the new Dan, Jake, and Jakey calendars. I don't know if I deserve a place on the calendar. I don't think I'm not in shape yet. Maybe one day, but not yet. Evening, Gavin. Welcome. I know you don't like window cleaning, but I can clean in and out. Congratulations, Crystal. I've noticed Gutta Vacuum Systems sell the internal high reach like dust cleaning equipment for like window ledges and like and yeah, all that sort of stuff. I think that's pretty cool. Dan Furs. Yeah, he is a cool guy, isn't he? Very down to earth, very nice, very... If you were to have someone come on a job with you for the day, you couldn't really ask for a better guy. He's like normal, first of all. He's not some weirdo. He turns up, he gets stuck in. He's a bit of a grafter, and he's got the knowledge that will get the job done. He doesn't even eat lunch. I tried to I was like, we're gonna order some lunch. What do you want? What do you fancy? Do you want like pizza or fish and chips or like, what do you fancy? He's like, I don't eat lunch. I went, what? I mean, yeah, I just don't eat lunch. When I'm training and stuff, I just don't like. I'm very picky. I'm like, you don't want nothing. You're like, nope. So Jakey walked to the shop and just got me and him a sandwich, and Danny didn't want anything. Like, fair enough. So he doesn't even stop for lunch. Oh, we forgot to talk about the flat surface cleaner. Damn it. Maybe next time. Smout 200 bar, 20 litre per minute, 16-inch surface cleaner Turbo Devil, ST2600 trigger with lance, 30 metre high pressure hose, key start, return to tank valve from a good brand, one hour away. What do you think? Sounds like an ideal setup, mate. Sounds like a great setup. Depends how much it costs, doesn't it? Depends how many hours are on it. Is it like a used bit of equipment? Honda GX390, yeah. Nothing wrong with that setup, mate. Sounds good. I record people without them knowing with the free cleans, and they still don't care. You do the free cleans and you get the customer's reaction and stuff. I've still not done that yet. You know, when you've done like a really good job for the customer and it's on YouTube and stuff, and then they go up to them afterwards and say, so here's the big reveal, like, what do you think? I don't know. That makes me feel uncomfortable, that does. Hi Jake, have you any before and after pictures I can use as a member, please? If you become a boosted member, which I think that's what you are, once you've linked your YouTube account, so you're not linked yet, so you're still white, you got to go into your Discord settings and link your YouTube account. See how this one's red? that means he's linked his account. And then once you've linked it, you can go down here to the boosted images section. Although someone commented on my YouTube video the other day and said I'm a hypocrite because I sell these before and after pictures. It was the scam video. It was the scam YouTube video, and they said you're making this video showing off, you know, poor workmanship. I can't remember what the exact wording was, and yet you're encouraging other people to use your photos to then go and do a job they don't know how to do. And it made me sort of stop and think a little bit. I've had this thought before. I've gone back and forth with the morality of this, allowing people to use my images to put on their leaflets and their websites and stuff to generate more work for them. And I'm sort of fighting with whether this is okay or not. And I think purely the fact that these images, you have to join this community, this private community, in order, you have to contribute and take part in order to download these images and to use them. You have to join the community, basically. Means that you're sort of, in my head, it means you're in a space where you can ask for advice. You've got all the tools you need to identify all these different surfaces and figure out which chemicals you need to use. I feel like it's more responsible than just allowing people to purchase an image pack. It's bringing them in and allowing them and giving them the information to achieve the same results. Maybe they don't have the customer base just yet to be able to do this sort of work because they just don't have enough inquiries. But it's not to say that they haven't done the research and they don't know which equipment and chemicals they need to achieve that standard. So I'm sort of fighting with whether this is still a good idea or not. And I totally understand what the guy is saying, that I'm a hypocrite. Because used in the wrong way, these images can, you know, you're passing off work that isn't your own. And I understand that. But used responsibly, he said something like he's got someone in his area that is basically just posting all my pictures, the ceiling, the tarmac restoration, the repointing and stuff, and it's a brand new business, and the likelihood of them knowing how to do all of those services is very low. And I agree with that, and I totally understand, and I think that is wrong. But I still think having these images available is a good idea. So I'd like to get some thoughts on that, because it doesn't bother me either way. Like, I like to think that I'm helping people, but also if it's having a detrimental effect and it's encouraging people to, I don't want to be encouraging people to scam stuff, you know what I mean? To like pass work off as their own and then scam the customer. That's the last thing I'm trying to do. So I'm interested to hear opinions on that, because I could quite happily take all these down, give people a month's notice and say I'm going to take the pictures down. I don't want to do this anymore. But I also think it's a good idea, so I'm not sure. If you ever get stuck with the My Tower, Jake, I bought one so I could lend it to you if needed. Oh, thank you. Pressure Washing Midlands, thank you. It's a new machine, £2,500 excluding VAT. Yeah, it sounds about right, to be fair, mate. Yep. If Trading Standards saw a website suggesting they had done the jobs and it was really your work, that would be misleading the customer and thus might be illegal. I mean, you could also call them stock images. And there are stock images everywhere of people doing, like this, for example. There's stock images everywhere of people clearing gutters and pressure washing, and no one seems to have any issues with that. Big businesses use stock images. You see it all the time on TV. So I'm not sure I agree with that one. I think directly saying, here's one we did today, is a bit, that's not cool. Because you didn't do that today. You're actually lying at that point. If you just put up a picture of this picture, for example, saying gutter clearing Birmingham, here's my prices or whatever, then that's fine. But to say here's a job we did today in central Birmingham, customers over the moon, that's different. So it's about the way you use the photos. Maybe I need to set some rules on the photos, because I haven't had any rules up until now. I think it's fine if they are subscribing. It's likely they are taking this seriously. They've come in clutch for my leaflets. Haven't done a UPVC clean yet, for example. Yeah, I think inviting someone into the community and showing them how to do the job properly, and then this is one of the perks of being in the community, that you get some decent before and after pictures to get you started. I think it's okay. Oof. I like these pictures. I do like looking back through them every now and again. Quite satisfying. Jake, what's your opinion on Nuclear Pro? Do you think sodium hypochlorite and your own surfactant is more effective than the ready-made Nuclear? Stuck between which way to go? It's the same stuff. So Nuclear Pro is just like a version that's blended with surfactant and scent masks and wetting agents and stuff, which is, as far as I'm aware, the same stuff, the same as what you can do with the Pure Surf Boost that they sell. So you can get your Hypo and your Pure Surf Boost, mix it in, and I think the result of that is very similar to Nuclear Pro. The original Nuclear Pro, I think, is 10 to 13% or 11 to 13%, so it's not the strongest you can buy. They've now started doing a Nuclear Fallout Pro, which is 15%, and that's pretty much the strongest you can get, I believe. I'm sure there's a way where you could mix it yourself and have it slightly cheaper, but for convenience, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that product. It's very good. Personally, I wouldn't use those images. I'd just do friends and family or free ones. Yeah, and that's exactly what I did when I first started out. I was doing friends and family's jobs cheaper in order to get images, and that was the main thing for me in the beginning. Is I want this job because I wasn't really thinking much about the money. I was thinking I need this for my portfolio. It's on the user of the images to state that it's not their work. If you're claiming it's your work, then that's where you might get into a problem. Yeah, I suppose it's the responsibility of the user, because anyone could just steal a picture off Google. There's nothing stopping anyone from just typing into Google or ChatGPT and getting something made up and passing it off as their own work. That's different, I think. I think if someone uses your pictures and doesn't do a great job, it won't look good on the chap who's done the job. Yeah, it's what I generally say to people is to only use the pictures that you think you can achieve. So if you've never done a repointing job before, then maybe don't start advertising with these pictures, knowing that you've got no experience in it. Really, no matter how much research you've done, if you've never done tarmac sealing and you're not sure if you can achieve this kind of finish or whatever, you don't even know where to begin, but you want to start advertising the service, probably not a good idea. I've got to say, I'm not a fan of the boosted images. Day one, guy using your images gives the impression to the customer it's his work. He would have zero chance of producing the work to that standard. Agreed. Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I'm happy having these conversations because I do want to get opinions. It would just be a shame to like turn it off and stop offering it, because I think it's a cool thing to have if people can use them responsibly. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're not responsible for how people will use them. Scammers and cowboys will find a way. Yeah, and I think putting it behind this sort of closed private community, I think I'm doing what I can to reduce that or limit that. Might be worth sticking to pressure washing only, not giving sealing and repointing out because they're easy to mess up. True. Yeah, that's a good idea. On the flip side, models use Photoshop and filters all the time. Yeah. I am trading standards approved and we're not even allowed to knock on people's doors. What does trading standards approved mean, Arden? I've never heard that before. I think it's on the user to use the photos standards with standards akin to their own work. I'm not going to use the repointing image when I don't offer, nor can I do it. Yeah. Maybe ask your local trading standards and see if they have any advice. There are probably Muppets either way, yeah. That's why I never used anyone's work. You shouldn't be putting that out there. 100% agree with that, man. Jake, don't change a thing. Your work helps the right people, and the wrong people will always try and spoil it. This is what happens when you start to make it. I don't know if I'm starting to make it, but I understand what you're saying, Negan. Appreciate the feedback. I guess using pure sodium hypochlorite and your own surfactant is the best way to go when using an XJet. Even I think Nuclear Pro would be absolutely fine going through an XJet as well, mate. It just depends on the convenience of ordering some nuclear fallout and having it already pre-mixed and stuff. You know it's going to come out the trigger fine. Yeah, it's personal preference. Can I do a brick driveway with a surface cleaner, 16-inch with 200 bar, 20 litres per minute? Possibly. There's a lot of debate on this channel, particularly as I have never experienced good results from a surface cleaner on block paving. Maybe occasionally on a drive that's only very slightly mossy and it's got no weeds whatsoever, and I've had to do sort of multiple passes on it. It's been acceptable. But on a driveway that's got any weeds on it whatsoever, I think you'll struggle. You may struggle with a flat surface cleaner. But that's just my opinion. Other people tell me I'm wrong on that, but I'm not sure. It's called the Buy with Confidence scheme. I've never heard of that, mate. Howden just opened up an office in my little town in Ireland. Oh, nice. That's a good contact to have, so local to you. Boosted images. I feel it's completely up to you and the people who pay to use them. I think putting it behind a paywall may weed out the bad eggs, but for me personally, I've thought about it. I think your message cut off halfway through. I mean, just being a part of this community alone is hopefully enough to have someone that's trying to do things properly. If they're paying to be in this Discord channel, they're hopefully trying to set themselves up for success. It feels disgusting, dishonest. Oh. I've thought about it. It feels disgusting. Disgusting. That's very serious wording there. My nan says that all the time. She says when we've been in a restaurant or something and we've got the bill and they've put like a service charge on the bill. Oh, I think it's disgusting. It's like, Nan, calm down. Not disgusting, dishonest. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Right. I'm going to call it there. I'm going to go and try and get an early night as possible. Day off with the kids tomorrow. It's half term. So it's hit autocorrect. What's the best size van when starting out? As big as the budget allows. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Around about transit size, I think. If you're serious about the business, I think you skip the little ones and go straight for like a mid-size van. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I appreciate the donations and the memberships. Thank you everyone for watching, tuning in every week like you do. If you haven't already seen that, I've just put out a new video with me and Dan the Cherry Picker Man on YouTube. This one here, we got a free cherry picker to clean this filthy roof. If you haven't already seen it, please go and have a look. Thank you everyone, I really appreciate it. Wake up at 5 AM, delete the boosted images. That's productivity. Yeah.